Parents of Reddit, what's the best child hack you've figured out to make your life as a parent easier? To get a newborn to burp, sit them on your knee, holding them under their armpits, and move their upper bodies in a circle several times. Like a reverse hula move, I guess. I learned it from a neonatal nurse, and it's almost infallible. So much faster and more reliable than regular burping. This saved me so many times. It was almost like magic. The baby would be crying painfully, a higher, more urgent cry, and I'd do the swirl a couple times, pat, burp, and instant silence. It didn't work every time, but most of the time. Be mindful of how you phrase questions. Example, instead of "do you want a hot dog for supper?" ask "what do you want on your hot dog?" If your kid's a dick, it won't matter, but it will help in most situations. If I tell my 3-year-old to go potty, he will buckle down and refuse to go. If I tell him to go, put pee in the potty, or that we will go to the park after there is pee in the potty, off he goes to use the toilet. There have been enough situations like that I wonder if all the remaining conflicts and meltdowns are just because I'm not clever enough to figure out the right way to say it at the time. Or maybe there are a lot of kids out there getting in trouble for being bad, but those kids are the same as everyone else, but their parents aren't figuring out the right way to phrase things. It can take a lot of mental gymnastics to make a kid think that putting on shoes and eating breakfast is their idea. My kid is always pretending to be something. Tonight she was a gorilla. I told her to go potty. She said she didn't have to. Husband said gorillas have a potty bush. Guess who wanted to go use the potty bush in our bathroom? I totally agree. Wording can make a huge difference. My mom is a nanny, and she tells the kids, if you behave at the grocery store, I'll let you each pick out 2 vegetables. It's all in the marketing. She's incentivizing good behavior and giving ownership over healthy eating choices, and it works. She's not just telling them to behave and eat their vegetables, she's empowering them to make their own good decisions. Saw one on Reddit where, if you want to enjoy some time undisturbed, tell your kids that you're taking a nap, and when you wake up all of you are going to do chores together. They'll want to let you sleep as long as possible to avoid doing housework, so they'll leave you alone to actually nap or do other things like read. You just made me realize my parents outsmarted me every weekend of my childhood. Remember that bit of anxiety you get trying to be as quiet as possible, getting to the living room, switching on the TV and quickly jamming the volume down button? Every small sound would leave you paranoid because it could be them waking up. I told my kid her ears turn red when she tells a lie. Now she covers her ears when she lies. She is almost 7 and it still works. Kinda reminds me of how my dad told my sister that eating bread crusts gives you the ability to whistle. She ate her crusts religiously after he started telling her that, but still can't whistle. She found out the truth when she was like 15 and told someone she didn't think she started eating crusts early enough in life for it to make her able to whistle, and they were confused as fuck. Why would you want your kids to eat the crust specifically? I think he just wanted her to eat a whole sandwich without wasting parts of the bread for no good reason. I always loved crust, so I ate it anyway and never got lead to haha. My wife's parents did a version of this. They used to say, hold out your tongue, if it's pink, you're lying, and the kids wouldn't open their mouth. Fully using this with our kids. Tried it once, not a parent. Even though they weren't lying, they still always kept their tongue in their mouth. I heard of a story where a dad would catch his child lying beforehand, then tell them to stick out their tongue, and said, I can see that you are lying. He did that over and over with every petty lie the kid told, and then if the kid was lying, she'd barely show her tongue. If she was honest, she'd stick her whole tongue out. If you have a hard time getting them to eat their vegetables, give them before the dinner, because that's when they are hungry and will eat almost anything. Give them some carrots and cucumbers in a glass, which is a great snack. Giving veggies first is an awesome idea. I'll sometimes give him a bowl of salad while we wait for the meat to finish cooking, and they will eat much more salad than they would if they were given it at the same time as everything else. Veggie sticks with hummus or other healthy dip are also an awesome thing to give them. If you threaten a consequence, follow through 100% of the time. Kids will test boundaries at every age. You just have to make it appropriate for their age group. If you throw sand again, we are leaving the beach. You must leave the beach. If you don't clean your room, no screen time tomorrow. No screen time. The key is to make the consequences not impact you to the point that you don't want to follow through, since it will ruin your day too. A hard line to toe, but boy do boundaries and trust work. Edit, explained further below. Kids will always test boundaries 100%. But that doesn't mean you go full force consequence every time. This is different than giving a consequence every time you can explain why you don't want them to throw the sand first. Talk to them about why they threw it. Take them in the water for a bit. But if you threaten to leave the beach once all of those things fail, you have to follow through. A teen breaking curfew once is not a take away your phone and computer and you're grounded for 3 months consequence. But maybe the 12th time is. This is why my brother and I never listened to our dad. We'd be little kids not wanting to get off the new family computer and he'd say, "If you're not off that thing in 10 minutes, I'm gonna chuck it in the swamp." Obviously he wasn't going to do that, so we'd just ignore him as his threats got more and more outlandish. My husband is famous for, "If you don't stop doing X, you will never go outside again / use a tablet again / eat candy again / insert completely insane consequence here again." Everyone else thinks it's so funny, but my kids don't listen to him, making me the disciplinarian in the house. It kind of sucks. Let your baby watch you fall asleep. If it's their bedtime, don't play on your phone or read a book. They are following your lead. So be boring, close your eyes, and be still and quiet, and they will learn to too. This is what I have to do to get mine to sleep. He stares at me so intently. If I have my phone in my hand and he can't see, he knows. But as soon as I close my eyes and settle down, he goes right to sleep. Learn to say thank you and I'm sorry to them. It makes you closer and helps your relationship with them, no matter what age. Experiences are better than things. Waking up before them makes the day a lot easier. Find a way to see them when you're driving. I'm really looking forward to the day when I'm waking my little one up in the morning, rather than him slapping in the face at 4 AM. If they are cranky, put them in water. I have teenagers, this is still the method that I use. Even having them wash their hands or face does wonders. To be fair, I do it with my husband too. So really, I guess it's just works for humans. I feel like you're the mom who carries a small spray bottle in her purse. This works on babies because it's supposed to remind them of being back in the comfort of the womb or something. But adults? Supposedly wetting your face triggers a mammalian diving response that slows your heartbeat to conserve calories and thus is calming. So I hear. Not a parent, but a daycare worker, and I learned this through Reddit. If a child is having a meltdown, ask what color their shoes / shirts / pants / whatever clothing they're wearing are. This distracts the child long enough to stop them in the midst of their meltdown, because they haven't thought about what they are wearing. I used this trick twice on a kid today who was just having a terrible day. Calmed them right down. The technique is called grounding. It's a common strategy for helping people cope with PTSD or anxiety. You can also use it on yourself. There's many different ways to do it, but they typically use the 5 senses. My kids didn't understand the difference between different days. For example, we'll go to the store in 3 days. So my husband started calling it sleeps. Now we say we'll go to the store in 3 sleeps. Also, offer a choice. Do you want to put your shoes on first or brush your hair first? It short circuits their tendency to fight you and makes them feel like they are making their own decisions, which they are. Make sure the options listed are ones you're okay with though. I do the choices thing with my nieces. It always made sense to me to talk to them like that. Nobody likes being told what to do. Very rarely does the older one, 9, catch on and refuse. And even then, she caves after I say you gotta pick one, but those are the options. It 100% helps that their parents aren't shitty and actually parent their kids. If you have a toddler who likes to get naked when they are supposed to be sleeping, you can cut the feet off of footy pajamas and put them on them backwards with the zipper on their back, and then they won't be able to get them off. I had 3 kids very close in age. At one point I assigned them each a day of the week. They each got to, and Sunday was a leftover. Whatever the question was, the answer was whose day is it? Who gets to go first? Who gets to ride in the front? Who has to take their bath first? I saved so many arguments with this. When mine were younger, say 3 or 4, and it was close to time to stop playing at the park or in the pool, I always gave them plenty of warning using a concrete timeline that they could understand. Instead of saying we are leaving soon or 5 more minutes, I would tell them something like, okay, let me see you jump in the pool. 7 more jumps and we are leaving. Sometimes the number was higher, but never less than 5. Less than 5 was always met with come on, just 1 more, which usually wasn't allowed. 7 or more was always such a big number that they seemed to get their fill and were ready to go when it was time. My wife and I came up with a short unique whistle that both kids knew meant come here to us. Works in malls, water parks, or just to come in and clean up for dinner. Fellow parents were amazed by this. Teach them early. My dad did this with me and my sisters. I remember one time we were at a neighborhood party and I was swimming. He whistled while I was underwater. I heard and popped up. He was standing with all of his friends showing off that he could get my attention whenever he needed to. Bubbles. Seriously magical. For especially long car rides, or traffic, or just for fun. Keep some bubbles up front. Cup holder ideally. Turn on the account or fan. Hold bubble wand up, and instant stream of happiness. I found myself doing this alone in cranky traffic jams and open the windows to spread the mirth and glee. Also, have tiny bubble bottles, like wedding favor sized, and easy to share with others, in need out and about. When your kid sees something they want like a toy or game, and you can't/don't want to buy it, tell them to put it on the list. If they're the type of kid that will follow through, then you have a handy list for Christmas or birthdays. If not, then they'll forget about it. Helps avoid arguments in the store, because you aren't really saying no. Let them be messy sometimes. I'm a neat freak, so this was hard for me at first. Doesn't matter what kind of home you have, just put them in the tub with those bath paints, or tape some trash bags to a kid table or the ground and let them paint. Don't worry about the mess, they will have fun, and it's building good memories. This one is kind of mean, but when one of my kids wants something I'm eating, I just say you don't like this. Remember, when you go grocery shopping with a small child, park near the cart corral. You don't have to play the awkward game of choosing to leave your child in the cart or the car when returning the cart. Make them feel a sense of control by giving reasonable choices. Do you want to walk to bed or be carried? Do you want to wear the blue shoes or the red ones? Would you like cheese or a banana for snack? Also, baby sign language. Do that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.